Some of you might not know this, but about 3 years ago, I was actually the fastest speedrunner in Rocket League for about 24 hours, because then someone else beat my record right after. It was pretty disappointing, to be totally honest. Like, I had just posted the video and people were already commenting that my record got beat. Not only that, but the dude who beat it was talking smack in the comments. Congrats on beating me, but enjoy your first place while you still can, winky face. Wayton, someone beat it by a second. Part 2? I would be happy to beat it again. Rip Wayton indeed. Whoopsie. Yeah, okay, all right. I'm actually down to 3rd place now, and somehow Sinestro has cut off 5 seconds from my record. How is that even possible? Like, when I first got the record, it was just about shaving off like milliseconds here and there. So yeah, it's, I don't know. I don't even know. What? No. He's cheating. He has to be cheating. How? How did he even do this? Normally it forces you to drive all the way over here like this, like before the finish line even comes up. The Rocket League tutorial, Basic plus Advanced Speedrun, is a rigorous challenge that requires perfection down to every single frame. There's a surprising amount of strategy involved, such as hitting one ball into another or changing your controller grip for quicker inputs. The weird part about it is that on most of the challenges, it actually limits your control bindings, so you have to find ways to be as fast as possible despite being handicapped by the limited movement. Clearly, since I last checked, another huge skip had been found by the community, and I'll get to exactly how it works in a bit. Oh! That is insane. How did anyone even figure that out? I have to go for the record now. I have to do it. Hit it. No. Nope. Get me over there, no! That is so funny. After 3 years of retirement, I've finally jumped back in to reclaim my title as the fastest speedrunner the game has ever seen. Well, at least for the tutorial. Truth is, Rocket League now has a ton of speedrunning categories, including training packs, free play, exhibition games, and much more. And let's just say I might be a little addicted. Over the past couple weeks, I have been grinding these speedruns, trying to put my name at the top of as many leaderboards as I can, all in an attempt to clap back at the guy who stole my record more than 3 years ago. I'm looking at you, Sinestro. I'm just kidding. He's probably a really nice guy. 3 years ago, zap dashing wasn't even a thing, so I'm pretty sure that should be faster right there. Unfortunately, the journey to once again becoming Rocket League's fastest speedrunner wasn't quite as straightforward as I had hoped, and you'll see the struggles of it later on. But before we get into that, today's video is sponsored by Thrustmaster. Thrustmaster is known in the Rocket League community for their extremely high quality and precise gaming controllers, compatible on Xbox and PC. This is their new Heart controller, which stands for Hall Effect Accurate Technology. After years of expertise in perfecting their flight sticks, Thrustmaster has now released a gaming controller that uses the same technology. Instead of relying on mechanical friction to measure your inputs, this one uses magnets, which essentially makes it impossible for this controller to get stick drift. That's just insane to me. I've already had to throw out like 10 PlayStation controllers just because of stick drift. You can of course expect extremely accurate precision with this new technology, which is great as well. Also, there's 2 convenient buttons on the back. I actually bound power slide to one of them, and it's helped me out a lot now that I can boost and drift at the same time. Not to mention the central RGB light is a nice touch, and the mechanical buttons function like mouse clicks, so you really know when you're pressing them. Best part is you can snag one of these just in time for Christmas at a price of 99 bucks. If any of this sounds cool to you, you can click the link in the description to check it out. Thanks to Thrustmaster for sponsoring the video. Now, let's get back to the speedruns and see how those are going. Whew. Okay, there we go. That's a world record, baby! First one on the board. Reclaiming my record for the tutorial speedrun turned out to be a pretty big challenge, which honestly makes sense since it's one of the oldest categories on there. So before coming back to that, I decided to try out some easier records and then come back to the tutorial later. I think it's still a... What happened? What happened? Bruh. What? Ooh, let's go! That's another record, dude. Let's go. The funny thing about the training pack records is that there was recently a rule change to them which now allows you to skip from shot to shot the moment you complete them, cutting off a huge amount of potential time. Not too long ago, this wasn't even possible in custom training, but now that it is, they've allowed it in the official rules. And for these packs, I was actually the first person to take advantage of this. So to be honest, these records weren't even hard to beat. But you know what? We don't talk about that. We're gonna pretend like I worked really hard for these. So can we please get some applause in the comments? Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate that. Okay, we did some training pack ones. Let's go for some different records here. After claiming some easy records, I decided to go for some that were way more competitive and respectable, like the all pads in free play. So all pads in free play is basically exactly how it sounds. Just pick up all the pads in the field as fast as you can. Your time starts on the first mini pad you pick up and ends on the last one. Right now, the record is 22.6 seconds. Yeah, the interesting thing about this is you can kind of take whatever route you think is best to pick up all the pads. And depending on which run on the leaderboard you actually watch, it'll show like people with different strategies. But I think the guys at the top really do have the best path because I did some experimenting and I don't think there's any better one. The hardest part is navigating around this part right here where you're trying to keep your speed with those sharp turns. And then you have to do that one more time on the way back. It's so hard. It's so hard to keep your speed up and still get all the pads. I started out doing some practice runs with Bacchus mod enabled so I could see how fast I was taking each turn. As usual, with super short speed runs like this, you could have a time within a second of the world record, but that doesn't always mean you're close to beating it. Within 5 minutes of practice, I was already just 0.5 seconds away. So thinking that I was pretty close, I turned Bacchus mod off and started taking some real runs. I need to do one more power slide tap. Okay, yeah. Oh my gosh. No, that was the best turn ever though. That was so fast. After some limit testing on those especially sharp turns, I realized that it's theoretically possible to hold boost the entire time and still be able to collect everything. It's a very small margin for error, but as long as you power slide and turn properly, it's definitely doable. The current world record actually doesn't take advantage of this, so I figured if I could somehow perfect this technique, I could surely take the record for myself. Oh, that was... Oh, no, but I slowed down at the end there, though. That was pretty good. Okay. I don't think that was it, but we're going to check the frames anyway. After about an hour of attempts, I finally got this wonderful run. That was pretty good. Nice turn. Oh, that could have been it. Dude, that's a record. That's a record, dude. Let's go. Out of nowhere, I absolutely crushed the #1 time by 0.2 of a second, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's actually a big deal when you consider how short of a speedrun this is and how optimized it was already. So with that record secured, it was time to move on to something pretty different. This is the exhibition match category, where you're basically speedrunning to win a game against bots as fast as possible. There's categories for the bot difficulties as well as the max score mutators, but the beginner 5 goals seems to be the main one. It has the most submissions by a long shot. Looking at the top runs, people have actually optimized this really well. You can see they figured out that the pillars map is actually the fastest for kickoff goals, which makes sense since you can see how close the ball is to the goal there. The runs themselves are also like near perfect, like everything about them pretty much. That's why they're all so close in time together. But I have a theory that they might be missing something that could make this just a little bit better. The Formula 1 car actually has the longest reach out of any other car in the game. I've talked about this before. However, all the top runs right now use Octane, and I think that's a mistake. So I'm gonna put some practice in and see if I can make it any better. Okay, I think that was okay. I don't know. I put it right into the guy. Okay, so I actually have to worry about the defender. Because the beginner bots aren't capable of boosting, it's extremely easy to score on them instantly, so long as you don't shoot it directly into their car. So this speedrun turned out to be basically just scoring 5 kickoff goals as fast as possible. If I could do that in under 53.8 seconds, I'd have myself another world record. Okay, that was my first completed run. It was already within a second. Once I finally got a run I was happy with, it was already really close to the record. But of course, this is another one of those speed runs where getting close is easy, but shaving off those last milliseconds is incredibly hard. Sorry, Marley, I know you're a beginner, and I know you just started playing Rocket League, but I kinda gotta beat you 5-0 right now. Dang it, no, Marley, what? No way, Marley just scored on me. Around this same time, I noticed something really interesting that added a whole new factor to this speedrun. You know how on the normal Rocket League field, there's 5 different kickoff positions? Well, on the Pillars map, there's actually 7, and for some reason, they're not even symmetrical. I don't know why. The spawn positions are asymmetrical in Pillars. There's more than 5. As you can imagine, this added a layer of RNG to the record, since you basically just have to hope you get the 5 best kickoff positions in order to even have a chance. Unfortunately, there were a few times where I performed really well, but my time was still slower because I just didn't get the spawns I wanted. But eventually, after a couple hours, the stars aligned and I finally got the exact run I was hoping for. Oh, that was nice. Okay, this one's tough. But we got it. Let's go. Come on. I stopped the timer so late, but that might have been really good. We gotta check the time. We gotta check the time. 53:42. Is that it? That's it! Let's go! Let's go, dude! Yes! After perfecting my kickoffs on a weird, messed up map, I had now claimed 4 world records to my name, which, as it would turn out, caught the attention of a certain individual. So I figured now was the time to finally take the throne back. After 3 years, let's get back into it. Surprisingly, a lot has changed since I last speedran the Rocket League tutorial. Not because the tutorial itself has changed, but rather people have just optimized it that much more. Fortunately, the rules allow you to choose which of the tutorials you do first, so I of course chose to start with Advanced, since most of the run ending moments happen here, so it just makes more sense to get it out of the way. It begins by having you do a side flip to score on each side. As I mentioned earlier, it limits your controls here, so you can't boost or drive or anything on this one. There's not much strategy to be had here for that reason, but the next challenge requires you to flip across the field as fast as possible, and once again, it prevents you from using boost. Interesting thing about this, I discovered that zap dashes aren't actually faster in this case when you don't have boost to go with it. But after that is without a doubt the hardest part of this whole speedrun, the double jump section. Ideally, the strategy for this is to take the first ball out by hitting the lower right portion of it with your wheels, which gives you a flip reset. Then you use that reset to wave dash toward the second ball, where you use a similar technique. For the third, however, the goal is to approach it from this slight off angle and knock it into the other ball to take them both out in a 2-for-1. From there, your momentum from that initial jump should hopefully take you somewhat toward the final ball, which you slam into the ground as fast as possible. Finally, to finish off the advanced section, you get all your controls back and have to take out these 3 balls by sending them each to the floor. The transition from this second to third ball is by far the most difficult because of the recoil when you make contact, and a lot of my runs ended right here. On the off chance you actually make it this far without a run-ending mistake, you're now ready to move on to the basic section. The final stretch of the speedrun is seemingly really simple considering how limited your controls are. However, it requires exact technical knowledge of each challenge in order to truly optimize it down to the frame. On this first one, it literally is just holding down the drive button because that's all you can do. But on the next one, you need to time your flips perfectly so that you reach the ball quickly and also get the maximum power. Even slightly mistiming your flips can already put you back 1/4 of a second, which essentially ends your chance at the world record right there. Next up is the dodge, which is surprisingly the most difficult challenge in Basic. It's so short, but the weird sequence of precise inputs makes it so awkward to execute. I'll explain more later. After that is the rocket boost. This is another simple one. It's just holding down boost the whole way. Next is locating the ball, where you just turn on ball cam as quickly as possible and then turn and drive toward it. But after you score, this is where the insane power slide skip comes in. As this challenge ends, you need to sit your car in the center of the field here. For some reason, this triggers something in the game that allows you to immediately turn around straight to the end to finish off the speedrun. Your time ends the moment the completion text pops up on screen. In order to get the world record, I need to beat Sinestro's time of 2:03, not including each of the loading screens. The only way that could even be possible is near perfection. Nope, nope. I hit it in so slowly. I think that misses. Yep. Boom. Huge hit. That was horrible. That was awful. Oh, and then reverse power slide. There it is. And that's the time right there. Yeah, that was horrible. Even though I've technically done this speedrun before, the 3-year break from it felt basically like I was starting from scratch. This is gonna take so much practice. It took so long to get a complete run without any ginormous mistakes, and even when I did, I was still more than 2 seconds away. I decided that I must have been doing something wrong, so I recorded some of the top runs on the leaderboard and compared them to my own frame by frame. I learned a bunch of things while doing this, but the most surprising one was that I was losing multiple frames of time on pretty much every single info screen. Whenever one of these things popped up, everyone else was skipping past it so much faster than I was, and there are a lot of these throughout the run. So by the end, I was basically at least a full second behind just from these info screens alone. Like, that is ridiculous. It was clear I needed to change my approach, so rather than just spamming a button with my thumb like I was doing before, I decided to change my grip each time one of these came up so I could skip it faster. I'm really not a fast button masher, but I did my best, so if you notice me making a weird face every time one of these comes up, then that's why. After some testing, this actually did save me a ton of time already, but it also presented a brand new challenge, because sometimes I would have to flip shortly after, so I would quickly regrip my controller, but then mess up in the process. It was adding just another way to ruin the entire run. And worst of all, this regrip spamming strategy wouldn't even work on the dodge section, which posed another huge problem. 3 years ago, the optimal strategy for this one was actually just to spam the front flip as soon as possible. Nowadays, it's a lot more complex, but it saves a bunch of time. Instead, you must skip the info screen with one button, jump as soon as you possibly can after, lean back ever so slightly, and then front flip toward the ball to score it. If you don't lean back, the tail of your car won't make solid contact, so that part is actually crucial. At first, this completely broke my brain, and it took so many attempts to finally get it somewhat consistent, along with all the other various parts of the run that I still had to polish up. All right, training arc, engage. That's not what you want. You don't want to do that. I spent the next chunk of time just grinding out my weaknesses until it was reasonably possible to get a completed run at world record pace. I didn't time myself because I wasn't concerned with getting a full clean run start to finish, but eventually I just naturally happened to get one. It wasn't a world record, but it was awfully close. I don't know what my time was there, but that was actually a full run. So I figured that was my signal to jump back in to some real runs. That is not very fast. But you know, we'll keep it going. I don't think I'm happy with that. Okay. Oh, I flipped way too early there. It's okay, I still got pretty good power, actually. Yep, that was just too slow. It's good, perfect. Boom, let's go. Don't hit the ramp. Ah, that could have been a lot better, but it's okay. Good hit. Time. Boom. 2:14. That's pretty fast. That's pretty fast right there. The thing about this speedrun was that in order to truly check how close I was to the record each time, I had to throw the recording into Premiere, manually cut out the part in the middle where I'm switching between the tutorials, and then count the frames to see what my actual time was. This time around was my new personal best of 203.217. 217 milliseconds after. That's just 13 frames behind the world record. I knew at this point that I could literally get it any moment now. So I just kept on going. That wasn't great. Kind of a rough recovery there, but we'll keep it going. Perfect. Let's go, dude. Let's make it happen. Let's make this the one. Nice. This is the hard part. Nice. Let's go, dude. Let's go. There we go. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Let it be the one. 213.9. This has to be it, dude. That was way too good to not be it. That was way too good. I might have just done it. Yep, that's it, dude. Let's go. Yes. Dude, I was so shaky at the end there. I can't believe I did it. At last, I had finally taken the title back by a margin of 67 milliseconds. That's almost as close as it gets, but a world record nonetheless. I just have one favor to ask of you guys. Can you please wait a little bit before breaking all my records when this video comes out? I'd like to hold on to them for more than a few days, so if you could please just wait a little bit, I'd really appreciate it. That'd be really nice.